Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Tuesday, August 19th meeting of the Milford Planning and Zoning Board. If we could please stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. Thank you. If we could please call the roll.
Mr. Agnesi?
Present.
Mr. Alling?
Present.
Mr. Anderson, excuse. Mr. Hirsch?
Here.
Mr. Collegian?
Present.
Mr. Mortimer?
Present.
Mr. Zaharides?
Present.
Chairman Fish?
I'm also here. First order of business is a public hearing closed by August 19th. 2025 vote by October 23rd. 2025 is 1357 Boston Post Road, Zone SCD, petition of Chick-fil-A Inc. for a special exception site plan with CAM for a new fast food restaurant with drive-through on map 89, block 812, parcel 42, of which B33 Milford Crossing LLC is the owner. Applicant has the floor.
Evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Nuff. I'm an attorney with an office at 135 Broad Street here in Milford. I'm here tonight on behalf of Chick-fil-A. You'll recall that we were here last month to open our hearing. We all know that this is a special exception, so it requires 7 votes out of 10. So not a majority, but 7 votes. And so I've chatted with David this afternoon or this morning and have already given him a consent to continue the hearing beyond this evening to next month so that those members who are not present this evening can not only familiarize themselves with what we're presenting tonight, but also ask us any questions or make any comments, and so it will still be on the record. So certainly I would ask that you're not closing hearing tonight. I'm sure that we won't do that, and obviously we won't be voting tonight as well either. So you had a number of questions from our last visit, and so we have submitted new plans in response to that, new landscape plan, a letter executed by Barnes & Noble, a letter from our landlord, a letter from our traffic engineer, Ethan Shukowski. The plans have I think in plan forms seem sort of subtle, but they make very significant changes to the site plan to help not only that 4-way intersection and give a much better defined path for all traffic wherever they're going, whether to Chick-fil-A, Walmart, Golf Galaxy. We've modified the curb cut into the Chick-fil-A area so that it is a right out only. We have added significant signage to direct people away from that 4-way intersection to make it much safer and efficient. But the conclusion is from not only our landlord, but also our traffic engineer and our professional engineer, Chaz Evans, is that this site, as currently designed, will operate in a safe and efficient fashion. So without going into anything further, I want to introduce Chaz Evans, our professional engineer, who will walk you through all the changes, not only with regard to traffic, but also the new landscape plan. And then Ethan, our traffic engineer, is going to give you, drill down even a little bit more on how the new traffic patterns will work. So with that, I'll give you Chaz Evans.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Commission. As John said, for the record, Chaz Evans, professional civil engineer, offices at 65 LaSalle Road in West Hartford. Presenting for you tonight just the comments we heard from the last hearing. Joey Fonseca from our office had presented, asked a lot about the clarity and the driver conflicts that you guys see in the shopping center as it exists today. Dave, if we could, I'd say we could go to the slide 4.
And David, if you might bring that screen out and angle it towards the board. Thank you. Thanks.
Yep. And the packets that were given to the commission, this is the second flip there. It's the should be, if you flip it up, it should be up on top. This is kind of a rendered site plan just to walk through some of the changes we've made and the overall just traffic flow as it exists today and some of the additional highlights. On the main change I will say that we did from Clarity is to create a right out only and then a full access into the Chick-fil-A. Before, you may remember, it was a full access in, full access out. And some of the comments we heard from commission as well as staff was one of the major point of conflicts is someone looking to take a left to go to Walmart or to Petco and would hold up queuing back into the Chick-fil-A. We feel that by making the right out only, you eliminate a point of conflict with the driver that's looking to come into Chick-fil-A. Taking a left, they're no longer concerned with that driver that would be exiting. So really their main focus as you're coming up that main access aisle is either I'm continuing forward, going to Barnes & Noble and the rest of the plaza, or I'm turning left into Chick-fil-A. I will draw your attention in terms of speed, in terms of traffic flow, how cars are going to be moving through that access drive. Right next to the left in, right in is what's shown as the wide crosswalk. That is the raised pedestrian crosswalk with two flashing beacons on either side for pedestrians. So it acts as a speed hump for the access drive. So you're no longer going to have someone coming off Boston Post Road having that internal access drive and trying to pick up speed. They're going to be moving at a very slow rate, either as they approach Chick-fil-A or as they continue to go through the access drive. So someone looking to turn left isn't having someone that's moving relatively fast. They're coming up on a speed hump. They can make that decision together. The other piece I'd like to point your attention to the right of the site in the main four-way intersection is we've looked to further define all three travel movements that can be made once you come into the center. Currently, as most of you may know, it's 2 lanes. The striping's dissipated, and for the most part, folks in the right lane turn to the right. Folks in the left lane either go straight or right, but most folks at the stop sign, aside from a turn signal, really aren't sure which movement that person who's coming in off Boston Post may be making. We've added what you'll see in red there is a mountable curb island. So in the event that someone is in the right turn lane, they're not going to make the movement that it's wide open asphalt and they can just make a left turn and disrupt the flow of traffic. If you're coming off Boston Post Road, you happen to be in that right turn lane, you stay in the right turn lane, you'll have to make the right turn or else you'll come in conflict with the mountable curb. Also, we're looking to adjust the double yellow striping to create a dedicated straight lane as well as a dedicated left lane to signalize who would be going straight towards Walmart and then who would be coming left towards the Barnes & Noble and Chick-fil-A development. In addition, as you'd see in a major intersection, is that we have the dash striping throughout this intersection to really keep people in their lane as they're moving through the intersection. Again, it's to provide additional clarity to not only the folks entering the site on which lane and which direction to travel, but also anyone at any of the 3 points. If a turn signal is not on, they know someone in that far left lane would be making the full movement through. In addition to that, there's additional signage we're looking for the plaza to, again, suggest the routes that folks would take to go to Walmart, folks would take to go to Barnes & Noble, folks would take to go to Golf Galaxy, right when you come off Boston Post Road, just so you can make those decisions as you see all 3 lanes appear. The other piece, David, if you could zoom out slightly, that was a comment from staff that's been addressed and I think addressed in more than not just meeting compliance. There was a comment we needed 1 additional shade tree. We had looked at the plantings up against Boston Post Road, and there were a total of 4 additional trees, 1 shade tree, 3 ornamental trees, to kind of give that corner a little bit additional landscaping. In addition to the striping and the signage and the additional mountable curb, and again, the change to the access into the Chick-fil-A as well as exiting the Chick-fil-A, we're just looking to, again, clarify how these vehicles move. Dave, you could go to the next slide, which is our traffic slide there. This, put together by Ethan, and I'll have Ethan join us momentarily, spells out the additional signage we'd be looking to make to show the Barnes & Noble's, the large blue sign in that center island speaks to the different main uses in the plaza. And then one additional sign we look to make is as you're exiting the drive-through, there's really, two decisions. You're either going to go right or you want to go left. Now that we've removed the left turn movement out, most cars that would make that left would then continue to go straight through this intersection up close to the Barnes & Noble and then take that first right at a four-way stopping intersection. So there's no longer the conflict they have up at the central access aisle where there's free-flowing traffic off Boston Post. It's now a four-way signalized intersection where folks are using the rest of the plaza. We'd also look to, as a comment that was made last hearing, what's stopping someone from taking a right, taking another right, and then trying to make a left to go to Walmart. We're looking to add the signage that if you're at the drive-through, you exit the drive-through, you want to go to Walmart, the suggested movement is to continue straight, go up to the four-way stop intersection, and then you're lined up directly with Walmart to kind of make a cleaner access and pull traffic away from the main intersection closest to Boston Post Road. With that, I'll pass it off to Ethan to kind of just, again, walk you through more of the traffic improvements and how we feel this is providing additional clarity to the center for the proposed development.
Good evening, Ethan Shikoski, for the record, TPD Engineering, offices at 275 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York. I presented at the prior hearing, so also a professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. I think Chaz covered the improvements pretty well. He went over most of the changes from the prior site plan. I believe you have in your packets there what's up on the screen. So I just want to touch on a couple of points. One thing I don't think Chaz mentioned was additional sidewalk. I think it was a suggestion by one of the board members here to add that sidewalk from the bus stop that's along Boston Post Road directly to the site. That's in addition to the sidewalk that's being proposed along the drive aisle to the main entrance. So I think those added pedestrian connections definitely help connectivity of the site overall, and especially to the Chick-fil-A, especially sort of having that direct connection from the bus and the transit options. If you go to the next exhibit, the signage plan we prepared, Chaz sort of went over this, but that blue sign as you enter into the shopping center, the intention is just to give drivers a little bit more direction. As you're coming, to go left or have the option to go straight to Walmart or right to the Sonic or to the Golf Galaxy. Again, Chaz sort of hit this, but the real intention is to give better direction to drivers as they enter the center than they have today, and especially with the Chick-fil-A. As you enter into the center, as we go further in, as it was mentioned, we have that raised island protecting your right turn movements, and in addition to the stop sign, so currently it's a three-way stop on the as the plan is laid out here on the east, west, and northbound approaches to the intersection, and there's no stop as you enter into the center. And that was intentional, so as not to, have a queuing back onto the Boston Post Road. We are proposing addition of some signs under the stop signs. Cross traffic does not stop. These are standard NMUTCD signs, which just to let everyone know, hey, you do have entering traffic from Boston Post Road. Be wary of that as you wait for your turn to go. And then as you turn towards the Chick-fil-A, as you make the left turn into the site, we have some additional pedestrian signage. This was on the prior site plan that was presented at the last hearing, but just to highlight it again, as you approach the raised crosswalk, you have some pedestrian warning signs, and then at the raised crossing itself, just on the other side of the proposed entrance, you have flashing beacons and pedestrian warning signs. So the idea is to provide that direct connection again from that bus stop all the way down into the center, which is really an improvement to the connections that they currently have, which is, I believe, none. So I think Chaz mentioned it, but again, just as you're exiting the drive-through, there's some signage just to let drivers know if they want to go to Walmart, they should be going straight through that first intersection and then making a right out in front of the Barnes & Noble. Happy to answer any questions. I think that pretty much summarizes the changes from the prior application.
Yes, so just to be clear, if you want to go to Walmart, you're turning that section of parking into primarily like a road. So people will be entering and exiting, parking their cars to go to Walmart and walking to Walmart, and then, but it's actually going to be more like a thoroughfare for those who want to go to Walmart.
Yeah, it would be a drive aisle like any other in the shopping center. It's just letting drivers know that, that might be the more preferred route to go straight.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the safety of that. It's not normal to have nowhere else in this complex that would have a preferred way to get one place to another through existing parking. But anyway, that's just a thought and a comment.
Are there any other?
Anyone have a question or comment?
Are we asking questions, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, I think you should, yes.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, or good evening.
Good evening.
Let's say I want to talk about use now. So a vehicle enters the plaza traveling north on the Boston Post Road, and they make a right to enter the plaza,
Yes.
right? When that individual motorist enters the plaza, there are 2 lanes in the direction they're traveling, correct?
Correct.
Right. And then at some point, it splits off into 3 lanes.
Correct. As you get closer to the intersection, currently there's a median that runs, 3/4 of the way down, and then it opens up a little bit.
That median, it looks like a strip, maybe a couple feet wide by several feet long.
You're referencing the existing median as you enter?
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about 12 feet wide, to landscaped median.
Okay, so it's going to be a landscape median, not just flat ground.
No, yeah, so that's existing, and it's an existing curbed and landscaped median.
And it's going to stay that way?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we're using the existing pavement here. As currently today, once you get past that landscape median, it really opens up this wide pavement area, which doesn't have a lot of direction.
Right, now it's more of a free-for-all now, the way it is. Correct. Okay. So it opens up to 3 lanes, and then there's a right turn lane to go to TD Bank,
Correct.
right? Correct. Then there's a straight arrow that leads you to the parking lot of the Walmart.
Yes, they will go straight down to Walmart.
My question is, it's a straight arrow. Could individuals still turn left using that middle of the 3 lanes?
So if you look at the dash striping that we're proposing,
Yeah.
sort of directional striping, once you're in that lane, it's intended to direct you straight south as you go down. So if you're in that through lane, you have, and we added this since the last hearing, we added additional striping on your right side to sort of direct you down into that lane.
So, as I understand it, then that straight arrow with the striping, the red striping, is leading people, motorists, to go towards the Chick-fil-A and the Barnes & Noble. See, the red striping, it's leading people towards the right. Correct. It's leading people towards that parking
That's for
lot.
the left lane, and then you have additional striping on your right side that ties into the drive aisle to the south.
Say that again.
we added some additional directional striping, the dotted striping on your right side to direct vehicles down to that drive aisle.
Perhaps another arrow in that area would be a good idea
Yeah, we can
to reinforce the point,
certainly look into that, yeah.
okay?
Yeah, we're
Because
happy to add that.
you're assuming people drive like engineers. And as a planning and zoning board member, I don't make such an assumption.
I understood.
so
We
perhaps
can
another
we can
arrow-
certainly add an additional arrow.
So perhaps an additional arrow would be a good idea. You agree?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, can we go now towards the other area of the parking lot? Towards where lumber liquidators used to be? Mr. Sulkus? Yeah, okay. You see the crosswalk? Mr. Sulkus, can you move the cursor to the left, more left? See that
The
crosswalk?
raised crosswalk, yeah.
That's a raised crosswalk.
Correct.
Who are the intended users of that raised crosswalk?
Any patrons coming, walking from Boston Post Road, or employees of the Chick-fil-A that are parked on the south side could also cross there.
Okay, so you intend for employees of Chick-fil-A to park in the parking lot of Walmart?
They would park on the northern side there, where it's not.
That was a yes or no question?
Yes.
So just to be clear, I know we touched upon this last time. There is no defined areas. There is no subdivision on this parcel. So anyone can park anywhere and go to any store. It's not as if, Walmart can say, that's my parking space. Patrons to Barnes & Noble can't use that. So it's, I know we all tend to refer to it as the Walmart area, the Barnes & Noble area. There is no distinguishing characteristic between all the uses and what they control or cannot control. And this is typical of any large shopping center, power centers, where there is a benefit to be derived by all the retailers because hoping that patrons will visit more than one store at a time. So yes, we can call that the Walmart parcel, but it's not really a defined subdivided parcel that they control.
Just to clarify that, so if somebody wanted to put in a pad site, what we're calling the Walmart parking, that's permitted as well?
Well, no, I mean, so in the same way that Barnes & Noble, we submitted the letter that said they had no objection to this, so there would be the same sort of control over Walmart, but it's not something that they own or they can exclude people, in terms of the utilization of parking. So yes, if you want to put in a new bank in the middle of the Walmart, of that parking area in front of Walmart, I will call it, then Walmart would have to give their consent in the same way that Barnes & Noble gave their consent. But in terms of where patrons or employees park.
Understood. Thank you for the clarification.
They can park wherever they want. Okay, thanks.
So under that logic, then, a patron or an employee of Chick-fil-A could park at the Golf Galaxy parking lot?
100%. And vice versa.
Any further questions or comments at this time, or should we let them continue with their presentation? Yep, okay, keep on going.
So that's all we have. We think that these are significant and important changes. They are in response to the comments we received from you, and we're grateful for your input. I think Mr. Hirsch's comment about the additional arrow is also very helpful. We're happy to incorporate that. We're prepared to come back in 2 weeks, and when hopefully you'll have the missing members who are here, and maybe we can hopefully close the hearing that night. But if you have any other questions, either tonight or in the ensuing 2 weeks, and want to funnel those to David, we're happy to address those on September 2nd.
Okay, thank you. And David, you have what you need in writing to continue the hearing. Okay, so we're all good.
Great,
Thank you for your
Have a good night.
presentation and your time. The next order of business was 62 Main Street. That has been postponed. Is that correct, David?
That is correct.
Okay. The next order of business is 336 Subway, Zone OD, petition of Kevin Cresadian Esquire for a special permit with site plan, lot consolidation for an office warehouse at map 41, block 303, parcel 2.2U and 8F, of which Bob Cinto is the owner. If you would first explain why they're different addresses. That's why there's two items.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think I would request that they be opened and heard at the same time and voted on separately. They're connected due to the parking.
I have no objection with that. David, do you have any consult?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Then that's the way we'll do it then. But we will have two separate votes, David?
Correct.
Is that to your liking as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay,
Good.
great. Thank you.
Okay, so for the record, Kevin Kersaden, my office is at 243 Broad Street. I'm here tonight on behalf of the owner and the applicant. Mr. Cinto is here with me. Rob Cinto is here as well. You'll also be hearing tonight from Manny Silva, the professional engineer for the project, and Pat Rose, the architect. So the main application, there's two applications. The second application flows from the first application. The main application is for what David and I have started calling 300 Subway, but I think the official addresses are still 300-336 Subway. This is an application for a new warehouse and office space. It is in a district that allows the proposed uses as of right, by special permit. There are, I'll go over the statement of use briefly. So, and this will explain the necessity for the amendment to the special permit at 325 Subway across the street. You'll recall, it's probably a little over a year ago, this commission approved a zone text amendment and then a site plan and special permit application for the warehouse that was previously, the property was previously the Subway World Headquarters. That building, if you've had a chance to drive by, I don't know if you had a chance to drive by and see it, it's almost complete. They're looking forward to hopefully getting the COs in the near future. This project, as proposing, we have 240 parking spaces on this site, 81 of which are allocated for 305 Subway across the street. So as part of that approval that you approved a year or so ago, that application required that 81 parking spots be on this site. And it's the same owner, and so the sites were previously the same owner, so that was no problem for the applicant, and that was no problem for the board. Right now, the property's existing property is two office buildings. They were previously part of the Subway World Headquarters, just like across the street was part of the Subway World Headquarters. The project's located north of I-95, close to Route 1 and the I-95 interstate access ramps. Subway is the corridor to one of Milford's main industrial areas. Subway, the street. This area is the primary route of travel for trucks and traffic from I-95 and Route 1 to Milford's industrial Housatonic Design District Zone, Bick Drive industrial area, the Milford Transfer Station, Power Station, and the sewage treatment facility. On a previous approval for this particular site in 2010, it was required that the parcels, right now there's two parcels, that the parcels be merged together. That project was built and completed and certificates of zoning compliance were issued, but there was never a lot consolidation map done at that time. So as part of this application, we're also cleaning that up and consolidating these two lots on this site in compliance with the previous approval from 2010. There's no change across the street at the 325 address. The only reason that is tied here again is because we're changing 300-336 Subway, the use and the buildings. So we needed to bring an application to amend that special permit as well, just to make sure that the parking's still aligned. And you can see there's a detailed parking plan. There's a color highlighted parking plan in the application materials that lay out which parking spaces are for which on this particular site. The Mr. Cinto is here this evening. As I mentioned earlier, he'll talk about the proposed tenant. I would also like to point out that we've been to inland wetlands, received inland wetlands approval. We've received a favorable review with some conditions from the city engineer. We've received a favorable review from the fire marshal with some conditions of approval. We've also received the police commission report with an approval. We've received sewer commission approval. We've started this project late 2024 to get to where we're at here tonight. We've made some revisions over the time frame, both based on Mr. Sulcas's comments and based on Greg Podleski's comments and in the wetlands. One of the revisions that we've done recently is we changed the access drive in the back of the proposed building so that the existing trees, some of which are pretty mature and tall trees, and that existing vegetation would not have to be removed under one of the original proposals for this plan. That was going to require clearing that vegetation and those trees. There's a residential district and residential use with single-family houses behind the property. So we thought that that would be a great idea. That was actually Manny Silva and Pat Rose's and probably Mr. Cinto's suggestion to do that. So we have all the necessary approvals. I would also like to point out that a large part of the parcel will remain inland wetlands. We're not changing the site with respect to that area. And that area actually goes back to what's now the Regional Water Company land that, and this goes back, I think, to the early 80s or even prior to that. There's a conservation restriction on that parcel. And so typically you hear from the city engineer that he would like, concrete curbs and sidewalks around the edges of that parcel. In my conversations with him and with Mary Rose, the inland wetlands officer, based on the conservation easement for that section of the site, that would remain untouched. There wouldn't be any changes to that, so that we wouldn't be in violation of that conservation easement. I think I did see Mr. Sulcas's administrative summary form. I think it was an earlier version where he talked about the project being zoning compliant, and then I think he had a revision where he would like to require, well, he's asking to, based on some of the recent site plan revisions that include changing the drive aisle and the driveway so that the vegetation and trees aren't removed, that those plans be changed across the board on that so that all the plans match. Pending your questions for me, I'll be followed by Mr. Silva or Pat Rose,
Are there any
architect.
questions or comments from the board at this point? Tom?
Yes, Attorney Castine, good evening.
Good evening.
Just so I understand, am I correct in saying that this proposal plan, what you've come up with, will have no adverse impact on Mondo Pond?
That is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep, go ahead, continue. Thank you.
Evening, Patrick Rose from Rose Tiso and Company, 35 Brentwood Avenue in Fairfield, architect representing Artie Cinto. Just like to briefly go over the survey, if you could, or the consolidation map, David, just to quickly go through what we're doing. The parcel, which will be consolidated, is 300 Subway, which consists of 2.8 acres, and the office building that is on the south side of the property. And then the 336 Subway consists of the 9.79 acres, which is that majority of that is the wetlands portion that's to the north. They're being combined into a parcel that's 12.59 acres. What we'll be doing is taking down those two buildings and then removing the parking behind 336. And what happens with the accesses to the site, we will be maintaining the northernmost access to the site and the southernmost access to the site, and taking out the other two accesses in between because we're building a building that takes up that entire area. And when we've had the wetlands review and had the approval, we're not going near our wetlands that exist, and that's not being touched at all, so that's not an issue at all. So if we could go to SP1A, David's probably better. I will show you the revised SP1A just because. Oh, he's got the correct one, very good. So this SP1A shows the parking lot on the right-hand side of the screen, which is for the parcel across the street. Then there are parking spaces that go behind the building, then two by the warehouse area where there are loading docks. You've got 5 loading docks and 2 drive-in doors. And then parking spaces beyond the loading spaces or the loading area for those trucks that will be coming into the loading docks. And then beyond that is, for the most part, the existing parking that's remaining. We're adding a few spaces along the drive aisle behind the building, but for the most part, it's existing remaining parking spaces. The building configuration is made up of the constraints of the site. We have a setback from the street of 50 feet. We are within 10, 15 feet of the retention basin on the south side of the street. And then we have the gas line, which is on the west side, which we have an easement which constrains us. We can't go into that easement. And then the driveway on the north side of the property. So that's what creates the shape of the building, essentially. The building being 82,208 square feet in size. What we have, based on the fire marshal's review and some other thoughts about maintaining vegetation on the property line in the rear, we've reconfigured the site plan to this, that we have consolidated the 5 loading docks together with drive-in doors on either side, and have a parking lot off the right-hand side, which is accessed from the drive aisle. So that allowed us to move our development about 20 feet away from the existing property line on the side there. Dave, if we could just go to A101 if you can. The building, which is 82,000 square feet, all but 12,000 square feet will be by one tenant. They have about 22,000 square feet of office space in the front on the north and east sides of the building, where you see that office area, and then the warehouses to the south of that office space. And then there's an available 12,000 square feet below that. So what we've done is we've split the docks and the drive-in doors so that the 12,000 square foot tenant has a loading dock and a drive-in door, and the larger tenant has the 4 docks and the drive-in door. If we could go to the next slide. These are the elevations of the building. What we'll be using is a precast concrete panel, which similar to a panel that we've used previously on other buildings. It is white, completely white, has openings at the top of the panel, so you actually see through it at the top. On the north side, which you see here, this is the entrance into the main tenant, where we have handicap ramp and stairs. We have a large storefront area, and then windows on either side for the office space. Rendering here, this is from the corner looking southwest. This is that entranceway here with windows along the office area. And that is a picture of another building in Shelton, which uses a very similar panel. What we have on the side facing subway is you have about 1/3 of the building with the windows for the office space, and then if you could pull that down, move, yeah. And then beyond that, you have clear story windows up on top for the warehouse area. And we go below, if you can pull that up, Dave. The rear, the elevation, obviously elevation facing the retention pond has no fenestration in it. The rear elevation shows the 5 loading docks and 2 drive-in doors. And then to the left-hand side is the entrance into that 12,000 square foot tenant space. Any questions? I'd like to have Manny Silva come up and just talk about the engineering.
That's fine.
I guess it doesn't disconnect. I usually like to be mobile. That's fine. Good evening, Manny Silva from Rose Tizo and Companies, registered civil engineer in state of Connecticut. Address is 35 Brentwood Avenue, Fairfield. I'd like to start with SP2. So as Pat stated, the site in general is generally impervious area, has 2 office buildings with some paved areas here. As you can notice, the existing pavement is kind of ghosted away, but what we tried to do was try to keep the new footprint of the impervious area, the parking and the building within the existing footprint. We had some adjustments. For instance, here, there was some paved areas that we were eliminating and creating a larger buffer for the neighboring properties. Also here, where Pat was talking about, you can see in comparison on the landscaping plan from our original proposal, we have pulled that further away to keep that within the existing edge of pavement that's out there today. The drainage design is basically broken up into 3 different areas. There's this northern parking area which is remaining unchanged near the wetlands, and that has kind of a sheet flow that goes to edge gravel trenches, which then infiltrates the water underneath the actual pavement. And then we have the southerly parking area, which has a retention pond, which holds that water. The retention pond was designed for this parking area and this office building, and essentially we left that unchanged because what we were going to do is just pull some impervious area away from that retention pond and basically make it over-designed. So what we have is then the center area, which we designed with a treatment train. Basically, we collect all the water in either a trench drain or various catch basins, which have a snout in them, and that snout is to allow, is to stop any floatables like oil or any kind of cans, bottles, to kind of stop inside of that unit itself so it doesn't get conveyed through the pipe downstream. And then we have a oil and water and grit separator, which is a vortex unit, and that will continue our treatment train to further clean out the water from any floatables, any suspended solids down to micron level, and that will actually create these little vortices inside the water flow, and then that'll slow the water down, and everything that's suspended in the water will drop down to the bottom of the unit, and then that will be maintained on a regular basis where that stuff will be vacuumed out. And then finally, in our treatment train, we have a gallery system. That gallery system is basically 4x4 galleries, 4 foot high by 4 foot wide, and they will collect approximately, let me get that number exactly. I think it's around 15,000 cubic feet, and I think that's correct, but yep, 15,000 cubic feet of water, and that will hold that water underground, it's out of sight, and it'll infiltrate that water into the ground and recharge the groundwater table as if it was undeveloped. So if we imagine the site was just a meadow, water would just go into the ground and filter through into the groundwater table. That's what we're trying to mimic. And with that, we've actually achieved a higher water quality than there is today going downstream, and we've also reduced the amount of volume or the peak runoff from the site from existing condition to the proposed. So at the 2-year storm, we reduced the water by almost 2%. At the 5-year storm, we've reduced it at 48%. The 10-year storm, we've reduced it at 48%. The 25-year storm, we've reduced down 42%. And the 50-year storm, 31%, and the 100-year storm at 22%. So between a quarter and a half of the water that comes off the site today will no longer come off the site once this project is approved and constructed. So along with that treatment train, I can say it's my professional opinion that we're reducing the amount of water coming off the site from the existing condition, and the water quality will be improved. On the next sheet here is our utility plan. So what the fire marshal asked us to do was put about, I think it was exactly 4 fire hydrants, one here in the front, one here in the rear, one here on the southerly side, one here in the rear, and then one here along the main driveway. And that was basically to help, you know, every fire marshal says they put out more cars than buildings, right? So that's to get fire hydrants near the parking areas. We also have a fire connection here, fire department connection near this fire hydrant so that we can connect the additional water to the sprinkler system within the building. And all the utilities will be underground, so there won't be any above ground wires. That'll be a transformer here and here. We also provide power to our required electrical vehicle stations, which will be here. If you go back on the site plan, it's delineated better than here on this SP2A. And then gas and, like I said, electric will be underground. SP3 is basically a soil erosion control plan. So during construction, it's good that we clean water and control storm water well after the project is finished. But during construction, we also want to ensure that we don't impact any of the neighbors or any of the wetlands or anything downstream from us. So what we have is a soil erosion control plan, and the outside is a silt fence envelope, which is a silt fence to stop any kind of water during construction, any kind of mud or debris from leaving the site. It's a black fence that lets water filter through, but doesn't let any solids or any kind of mud or any kind of debris to go past that. We also have silt sacks in every catch basin, which is that filtered fabric, also in the basin itself. So if the water, we build a basin and it's still a dirt site, that water goes into that, it filters through that sack. And then once the construction is near complete and we have grass and the site paved and stabilized, we pull those silt sacks, and then all the units are clean, ready to go as if they were new. And then we have anti-tracking pads at our entrances, and that's basically a bed of large stone to knock any debris or any mud off of the wheels before it goes out into subway and doesn't track any mud or anything out into the road. And then here is Bill Kenny's landscaping plan. As you can see here, we have some landscaping here where there was some paved areas here in that lower corner near the loading docks. And this is where you see the difference that Mr. Sulkus was pointing out, is that the landscaping plan hasn't been updated to the other plans. We actually pulled this right here further away from the neighboring properties, and it's essentially here now, kind of where the existing pavement edge is today. So this area here will preserve the existing trees, and there'll be an existing native buffer here, and then we're going to supplement that with removing this pavement here and adding trees along this triangle here and along this border here with our neighbors. SP5 is our lighting plan, and a lighting plan is to ensure that we don't have any light spillage off of our property. So as you can see, this is our point-to-point. Our fixtures are full cutoff, night sky compliant LED blades, similar to what's across the street. And as you can see in our point-to-point calculations, there is a 0-foot candles being trespassed onto neighboring properties. SP6 is just our general phasing and notes for our soil erosion control during construction. Here is that silt sack detail where we have that piece of geofabric inside the actual basin to ensure that the units stay clean. And then we have any diversion berms or how you would, if we have any need for a diversion berm to a temporary sedimentation structure if we anticipate like a large storm event coming or anything of that nature. SP7 is your striping detail. Even though we show single lines on our site plan, it's intended to always do the double as required by the town of Milford or city of Milford. And then just our striping details, things of that nature, signage. 8 is our gallery detail. Here's those snouts that go in every catch basin on the outlet to stop floatables from leaving that catch basin. And then we have our 4-bay, which we're going to put in the existing retention pond to increase its function as for water quality. Again, just some more utility details, and I'll just keep going. And then lastly is our turning template diagram. This was done to ensure that the 87-foot tractor trailer, which is the largest tractor trailer that you can have in U.S. roads, it's called an interstate tractor trailer, can circulate the site, come in the site, leave it, and then come into our loading dock area here, and then exit. And I think that's it for me. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments at this time? John?
Thanks for coming in tonight, Mr. Silva. You mentioned the EVs. How many stations do you have for electric vehicles?
I think it's, if you go to SP1, we have 6 charging stations, which we show 3 diamonds, which are doubles, right? There's 2 charging stations per diamond, or it's right there.
Thank you. And along the same lines, a building like this seems to be perfect for solar. Was there any consideration given to
Absolutely.
putting solar on top?
So once the building is complete, we'll have some solar bids to see if the solar, which I'm sure it will be suitable for, and then we'll put it up there.
Okay. Very good. And one other question. I'm not sure, but on page 4, there's a note that a bridge is being removed. I can't really tell from the plans what that's all about.
Currently there's a pedestrian bridge that would go from this parking lot over to the existing building that was there. Here, I'll show you. To leave that bridge would be a little bit useless because it's just going to bring you right to a building wall.
And it's a bridge over?
Over the retention pond right now.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, so there's a retention pond here. Its purpose is to control stormwater, but Subway at the time created a pedestrian bridge to kind of shorten your travel time to this building from this parking lot.
Right.
So since it's going to nowhere, we were removing it.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions at this time? No, you guys continue on.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Bob Cinto. My offices are located at 1 Corporate Drive, Shelton, Connecticut. we have a tenant for this building that's going to be roughly 22,000 square feet of corporate offices. The tenant is in the business of maintaining air conditioning and heating equipment for residential use. So the warehouse use on this would be for compressors, parts, pumps, all those things you might need to make repairs. So it is a 40-hour-a-week operation, so there's not any businesses at night or anything like that. It's not like you have trucks coming in and out. They'll take in the material, and then when they need it for services, they would take it out of inventory. When we designed the building, we didn't put any windows on the back side of the building to be concerned because we know that's a residential area behind us. We resubmitted a site plan because we were going to have to cut down trees, and we didn't want to cut down any trees with our neighbors. So that's what we had to redo, and Dave worked with us on that. The steel is being designed for solar, so if anyone wants to put solar on the roof, they're going to be able to do that. This is my 50th year in building buildings for my own account, and I've never sold a building, and I don't screen any phone calls. So we own these buildings, we maintain them. If you see the one we did across the street, I think we did a very good job on the landscaping. The building really, has no effect on the pond, and you can. Mandy did a very good job, I think, explaining all the improvements we're doing to the water treatment. So we're really adding to the water treatment from this site. The only thing I would like to ask you, we made this deal before Trump and his tariffs, okay? So, we have a commitment with at least at a certain price, and if it's something you would like to see, if you could pass it tonight, I would appreciate it, because the prices on all my materials are going through the roof. I mean, the building is steel, the deck is steel, the sheet metal is steel, the steel deck, steel pipe, everything is steel here. So, I mean, the price in this job is really getting up much higher than we anticipated when we did the transaction, okay? So that's a part of the deal, okay? So whatever you can do, I appreciate it, and I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our presentation for this evening, unless there's any further questions.
David, if you want to give us an overview before we open it up to the public, I'd appreciate that.
The applicant is proposing to construct a combination warehouse office building of 82,208 square feet. The development site is currently made up of two parcels, 300 and 336 Subway, which will be consolidated into one parcel to be known as 300 Subway. The total combined size of the consolidated parcel will be approximately 12.6 acres. The warehouse will occupy 59,456 square feet, which requires 60 parking spaces, 1 per 1,000, per section 3.3.4.2, subsection 4, amended effective 12/29/23. And the office will occupy 22,750 square feet, which requires 91 parking spaces. The total required for the proposed uses is 151 parking spaces with 159 provided. Total of 240 spaces is provided on site. Of the 240 spaces, 81 are designated by special permit for use of 305 Subway, which is located across the street. Because the use of the site at 300-336 is changing, the special permit granted November 19th, 2023 for 81 parking spaces for the use of 305 Subway needs to be updated. The plan sets submitted and updated for the fire marshal show inconsistencies from page to page in the rear of the building and the loading dock area. Different pages show different loading placements, number of docks, parking layouts. Most pages don't show the proposed parking striping at all. The applicant needs to update all plan set pages and show what they actually want to construct. We actually heard tonight what that is. They also need to show a 24-foot wide access drive aisle of the proposed parking area. That's been redesigned, so it has that. That's it.
Great, thank you. Any questions at this point before we open up the public hearing? Seeing none, we'd open up the public hearing if anybody would like to speak to this. Come on up. Going once, going twice. Okay, we're done with that. Would you like to rebut the silence?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Okay. So without objection, we will close the public hearing, and I would hear a motion. Brian.
With regard to 300-336 subway, no zone, I move to approve with conditions petition of Kevin Cresceden Esquire for a special permit with site plan lot consolidation for an office warehouse at map 41, block 303, parcel 2, 2U and 8F, of which Bob Cinto is the owner. The condition being that the reports from the city engineer, the fire marshal, and the inland wetlands, and the city planner's administrative summary will apply.
You have a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
John. Any discussion on the motion? If you would, please call the vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll state for the record that this was clearly a very well thought out plan, and I look forward to voting for it.
Excellent, thank you. Sorry for not seeing you.
Mr. Agnesi?
With the motion.
Mr. Allen?
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch?
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Zahardis?
With the motion.
Chairman Fish?
I'm also with the motion, and if we could hear a motion on 325. Brian?
I move to approve as presented with the following conditions. I move to approve as presented the petition of Kevin Cresceden Esquire for an amendment to special permit for parking located on 300 subway for use by 300 and 325 subway located on map 41, block 303, parcel 8F, of which Bob Cinto is the owner.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, please call the vote.
Mr. Agnesi?
With the motion.
Mr. Allen?
With the motion.
Mr. Hirsch?
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian?
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer?
With the motion.
Mr. Zahardis?
With the motion.
Chairman Fish?
I'm also with the motion, and good luck with the project. And I do want to commend the architect and engineer for very clearly stated and professional presentation. Well done. Thank you for that. We appreciate the clarity. Okay, so the next order of business is liaison reports. Mr. Sadi is the only liaison. He's not here. Subcommittee report. David, if we could have the next meeting entertain a presentation about CDD3. I know you need a little bit of time to get it together, and so that would be great if we make sure that's on the agenda.
Okay.
And we have approval of the minutes for 7:15. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Without objection, that's approved. We also have approval of minutes for 7:30.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Without objection, that's approved. Chair's report, none. Staff report?
None this evening.
Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.